And so normally we would vote on the minutes from the last meeting. We not having a quorum for this meeting of March the 9th, we won't vote on the February 9th meeting, minutes right now. We will do that
It
at the
looks like, excuse
Oh, is
me,
he
I'm
here?
sorry. It looks like Charlie just joined us. He doesn't have his camera on nor his audio on. I saw his
Okay.
name pop up.
Is it
There we
like,
go.
Yeah, I was having a hard time with my my email. I couldn't get into it.
hi,
How are we doing?
good, how are you? Sam is not going to be able to make it tonight.
Okay. Did we lose her?
Not sure we can vote on anything without his presence as or
Yes,
is two
yes,
enough?
two is,
Eric?
yes, you're onto it. Two is enough.
Two is enough.
All right. So as we have on a quorum, we can vote on anything.
Absolutely. So I was just looking at the February 9th minutes. And if there's a motion to accept the minutes, are there any amendments to it before accepting it? I couldn't see any, but
I didn't either, and I would put that motion on to approve as written.
it has been properly moved. I guess I second. Moved by Mr. Osberger and seconded by Carlita Cotton that we received the minutes of the February 9th meeting without correction. All in favor? And opposed? The ayes have it. Now on to tonight's call to order. Our roll call is the two of us that are present. And now we move to the opportunity for public comment. If there is one, feel free to unmute and
There is not this evening.
none.
No.
Okay, we'll move on to the next item. Oh, I was a little ahead of myself, wasn't I? Approval of the minutes. We have no candidate interviews. I see no old business. And under new business, the first item is the Solid Waste Advisory Committee proposed revised charge. And Sarah, and I will admit, I am not sure what that is.
Okay, I will gladly catch you up. So as part of the Committee on Committees ongoing endeavor to review current committees and their charges and to update them, we identified that the Solid Waste Advisory Committee was one of those committees that was an easy target, I suppose, in that they don't have a charge. Not one that's been officially, that's gone officially before the council and officially approved anyhow. So Jeannie has worked with that committee as a staff member, and she is here to report to you about their work on developing the proposed charge. And what you have in your packet this evening is a proposed charge that has been endorsed by that committee. But I will let Jeannie speak to it.
Please do.
Sure. Hi, good evening. So you have seen what was in the packet, the draft that was approved by the Solid Waste Advisory Committee at their last meeting. So that would have been their February meeting. And if there was a charge, it would have been before my time. And so it would have been in the 80s. You know, I've been with the town since 1990. So I'm not aware of any, like I don't have memo from town council or the town clerk. So we, on the website, what's on the website is the purpose or the charge. So when I drafted this and then ran it by the committee, I just put what was on the Solid Waste Advisory Committee website, which is the purpose of the committees to advise the council as may be appropriate on solid waste policies. These policies include issues relating to residential refuse and recycling service, transfer station operations, promotion of recycling and waste prevention, hazardous waste disposal, and bulky waste disposal. So that really is, oh, and you know what's missing from here? Composting. So that should be added, actually. Composting. And then I listed the three bullet points. I don't know if you want me to read over this. I won't if it's not necessary. So
For purposes of the record, it would be good to
read
record.
it.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So then it goes on to say the Solid Waste Advisory Committee shall, 1, evaluate the solid waste fund budget and recommend user fee changes to the Mansfield Resource Recovery Authority, which is what the town council convenes into the authority to make those kinds of decisions. To recommend to the town council policies and operations that support waste reduction, recycling, composting, and proper hazardous waste disposal. And 3, assist the recycling coordinator in educating the community. And then I have under membership, the committee shall consist of 7 members who shall be electors of the town of Mansfield and appointed by the town council for 3-year terms. Members shall have interest or skill in the areas of waste, recycling, composting, and/or waste prevention. The town recycling coordinator shall be a non-voting ex officio member. At the expiration of each term of present members of the committee, each subsequent appointment shall be for a term of 3 years. Any vacancy in the committee shall be filled by the town council for the unexpired portion of the term. And I think that that last part is taken from another committee charge or so. I don't know if you have any questions or concerns about that, what's written.
Mr. Osberger.
Yes, I know that you had said that you would want to add something having to do with composting. Isn't composting more of a personal thing that people do in their own homes?
No, not necessarily. So like there is a compost bin sale that is going on right now. So, which is, yep, you do it in your backyard. But the committee, I'll present ideas to them and the committee will say, yeah, that's a good idea. Or, no, that's not a good idea. Or why don't we do it this way instead of that way? So yeah, but we, with the Coventry anaerobic digester, which is a type of composting that is going up at High Tone Farm. Sorry, I don't know why. We may be collecting compost from residents. So that would be something that would be discussed amongst the Solid Waste Advisory Committee and then brought to town council. So I think composting is a part of, what they have been involved with in the past.
So you're saying that there's going to be a public compost place?
At a farm, there is going to be, High Tone Farm on Route 44 in Coventry. They are building a digester, an anaerobic digester, which just means it's composting without the presence of oxygen. So what we do at the transfer station is composting with the presence of oxygen. And they're going to be accepting food scraps from businesses and municipalities, as well as, using their farm manure. So yeah, so that would be something that would be discussed with the Solid Waste Advisory Committee, and we would bring it before the town council.
Okay, and this is going to be in Coventry that they're doing this?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. So what does that have to do with the town of Mansfield?
Well, if we had collection locations, like at the transfer station, and right now, if we brought the food scraps from the schools, which is being composted at the transfer station in the leaf pile, if the town council decided, yeah, let's go ahead and bring that to the digester, that would be, that's how the town would be involved with the composting, the anaerobic digester in Coventry.
Oh, I see. So it's not really for the town of Mansfield, it's for the town of Coventry.
So it's a commercial digester,
Mhm.
and it's a farm that wants to manage their manure differently. And so with that, they have space and room to accept food scraps from surrounding towns. So that's how Mansfield could be involved.
I see.
Yeah, so we could collect it in town and have it transported to the digester instead of it going in the trash.
So is Coventry transporting it or are we transporting it?
We would hire a company to transport it. Like we hire a company to pick up trash and pick up recycling. So
I see. And do we have a cost analysis of what it's going to cost to transfer or to accumulate all of that waste into one area and then in turn hold it and then in turn transfer it to High Tone Farm?
we do not. So that I was just giving you an example. So it has not moved along yet in that, because they're still building the digester. But that's an example of how composting could come under the purview of the Solid Waste Advisory Committee.
Okay.
And so, yes, that kind of information needs to be gathered and evaluated. And then if the committee, found, well, doing this would be a good idea, then it would be brought to the town council.
Right. So in the meantime, we could probably leave that off of the charge until we've come to a conclusion or consensus as to that is something we're going to do. And then once the composter in Coventry gets up and running, then I imagine we would want to have that cost benefit analysis and then have that presented to the town council and then for us to decide. Isn't that how probably we should do it?
Sounds about right. What do you think, Sarah?
Thank you. Ginny, the town currently has composting operation at the transfer station, is that right?
Yes, it is.
And
Yeah.
thank you. And the compost from that, some of it's from Mansfield households, like Mansfield households can dump there.
Yes.
Okay. And now what about the compost that's collected at the schools? Does that go there as well?
Yes, it does. So we have
Excuse my
been,
dog.
yeah, and my phone has been dinging. I'm sorry.
So the composting, okay, we got it's being taken, let me see if I understand, from the school now.
Yeah, we're
Our
composting.
transfer
We
station.
are. It's already under my purview. I've been doing school composting since 1995. So it is an activity, and I see it as it should be incorporated in this charge because it already exists, and so we had a compost campaign last year, and that, or 2 years ago, losing track of time, but And that was to encourage people to compost. We had the pre-order sale. We had some kits, that were assembled from used materials from the transfer station for people to take for free. We were cutting them to size and assembling them as a kit. So we had a poster contest at the schools that was focused on composting. So this is something that's being done now. I mean, it falls under waste prevention, and it falls under all those issues around solid waste.
Yes, sir.
Sarah, Sarah Hand, do you have the ability to amend the document that was sent?
I certainly could do that. Ginny could also do it. It's still in Word format, so
It is.
we can workshop it. We could even come away from this meeting and make the change and bring it to your next meeting with that update.
All right, so we could just table the charge for now.
That's
We don't have to take any, you don't have to take any action on this item this evening at all. This is just to start the conversation.
I see. And then, so
Yeah.
maybe then the next time, so then we could probably add that language to reflect this and then bring it to us the next time.
Exactly.
All right, sounds good.
sounds
Okay.
good to me.
Good.
And also, if you can do add in a cost analysis or anything that would bolster the charge with, as was asked, how does it benefit Mansfield to become involved and to make this issue larger, in other words.
And then what it's going to cost us to transport it there and
Mhm.
all of these things. Yeah, we'd want to know that stuff ahead of time, I would think.
Yes.
Well, that seems to be a separate thing aside from the charge. Like the charge is a broad, here's what the committee does. But absolutely, if something's going to be brought before the town council, we're going to have to evaluate,
Mhm.
is this worth doing? So, yeah.
Well, not even so much that, it's going to have to be a line item in the budget, and we have to add it to the budget. We also have to make sure it's cost effective for the town and the taxpayers.
Yeah, it would be out of the solid waste budget, yes.
Right.
Yes.
So then we'd want to add, if we wanted to add that to it, we'd need to have, I know you can't do a total cost analysis, but to based on what maybe other municipalities have incurred cost wise and your best estimates based on the information that you can find out about costs would be helpful.
Right, like how much volume is going to go, what type of vehicle we're going to be using, how much are we going to have to pay somebody to drive it there, all of these things.
So if we could get closer to that, as you're amending the charge, that would help greatly.
I agree.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I think if I'm, and Ginny, please correct me if I'm wrong. I think my understanding is that this Coventry machinery is only a concept right now. And so if it were to ever come close to even being a possibility, it would go through the Solid Waste Advisory Committee for them to evaluate and then make a recommendation to the council. And then they would have to come to the council. Probably the chair of solid waste and Ginny at a minimum would come to the council with all that information that you're talking about and the committee's recommendation. And then it would be the council's final say, essentially, as to whether to do it or not. Based on what I'm hearing you say, Ginny, I'm guessing that coming up with figures this soon would, or this early would be difficult to maybe not possible, since it's only a concept and no one has actually put anything in motion
Done
for
it.
this yet, since it's not built yet. Is that in line with what you're,
Yes, I just brought
Understanding
that
is to-
up as an example of how composting would be part of the solid waste advisory's charge. That was it.
in that they would
Okay.
need to give their opinion on
Right.
something like that, provide their
Right.
expert opinion to the council before the council decided. Yeah.
Right.
So
The
even
whole,
here,
yeah, the whole high tone farm thing is not part of this charge. That was just an example. This is how
Okay.
the committee works.
gotcha.
So, and as far as the farm thing, town council will be, you know, privy to this and will be voting on it. And you'll have the information that you need to make a judgment on whether it's a good idea or not. But we're miles away from that. That was just an example.
So you were looking at basically just under the heading of purpose/charge, you were
Yes.
you were going to add the words composting.
Yeah, that was it.
Okay. I don't see anything wrong with that, but if Mr. Augsburger agrees, we should table this until we have the entire verbiage. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I agree with that. And now that I know that we do have a composting situation at our own solid waste facility, at our own, at our own dump. Yeah, certainly that language should go in there if people decide that they want to bring their food waste and such and want to compost it in town as opposed to in their own house. Certainly then that language should be in there. And of course, that language wouldn't reflect that we're involved in anything extra municipally. At this point, it's just saying that it should include that. And by the way, we do have it at our own facility.
Right.
Correct. Yes. I'm sorry if I wasn't clear about that.
I was like, oh my Lord. I had another question. You recommended 7 members, correct? And as an aside, do you know of 7 people that might be interested as we sit now that would like to become involved in the committee? Oops. Go for it.
Yes, sorry,
Here.
Ginny, I hope you don't mind. I'm gonna jump in. So the Solid Waste Advisory Committee has actually existed since, I think it was 1981. The council created it. It was under a different name, perhaps Recycling Committee or some such thing. And it has, the council did change the name and the membership numbers, I think from 9 to 7, a few years later in the 80s. So it does exist. I think, Ginny, I think you're actually fully stocked on members. You might have one vacancy. Okay. And they are quite a dedicated and active group of people. So this would actually not be creating a new committee, but it really is formalizing via a charge the work that this committee has already been doing for decades. It just, for some reason, all of this time, it has, I looked back through and researched through council minutes, it has escaped council formal charge making. It was officially created and officially, number of members were set, but an actual charge was never written and passed by the council. So that's what we're trying to do now.
A formal charge assignation.
Formal
That makes
charge.
sense.
Yeah.
So I think unless there's further discussion, I think that's it. We would just be coming back to next meeting with the minor change to the verbiage and the description and
Perhaps a motion.
perhaps a motion to accept.
Yeah, that sounds good.
just accept this, especially since it's already vibrant. There's a group of people. So thank you so much for your time, and we look forward to seeing you hopefully next month with the updated proposal, and so that we can move it forward.
Thank you for your service to the town.
You're so very welcome.
All right.
And you're welcome to stay on with us. It's a public meeting, so you're welcome.
I'm gonna eat dinner.
I don't blame you.
All right. Good night.
Good night. Take care. And so the next thing I see on the agenda are appointments, reappointments. Are any of the people to be reappointed here?
No, so traditionally with reappointments, we don't have them re-interview. The process is that the individuals are asked if they would like to continue to serve. The chair is asked if the chair feels that this person should continue to serve. And staff is involved in, checking all those boxes. And then that information comes back to me. And as long as everyone agrees, yes, they want to be reappointed, yes, they should be reappointed, they're put on the reappointment list for a new term.
So what you're saying is that these 4 people have checked all the boxes. They all
They have
want to do
checked
it
all the
again.
boxes. Yep, they have already proven themselves to be valuable in service to the town, and we would like to keep them.
Absolutely.
Carlita, would you like me to put a motion on?
I would love for you to do that.
Very good. I move to reappoint to the Recreation Advisory Committee for terms ending 8/1/2025, Darren Cook and Jim Rayner. And I also would like to reappoint for the Agricultural Committee for terms ending 10/13/2024, Chris Kiefner and Diane Dorfer.
And I second both motions. All in favor? Opposed? None. So we unanimously have reappointed Darren Cook and Jim Rayner to the Recreation Advisory Committee for terms ending August 1st, 2025, and Chris Kiefner
Kiefner. Yep.
and Diane Dorfer to the Agriculture Committee for terms ending October 13th, 2024. So that action is done. We have no appointments before us. So we're now at item 8. Unless there's something that I'm forgetting.
I don't believe so. Sarah Ann, you'll bring those reappointments to the council for Monday?
They will not make it for Monday. The packet is done and set, but it will be
Right.
on your your second meeting in March.
All right,
As
very
a
good.
consent agenda item. Yeah.
All
I'm gonna-
right, so with that, I put forward a motion for adjournment.
And I second that motion.
Very good. All right, Carlita and Sarah Ann, have a nice evening.
Thank you, and you
As
as
well.
well. Stay safe, everyone.